Hey everyone, I'm Nicholas.
Hey, I'm Jeremy.
And welcome back to another Hardware Junkies.
Today we are in our studio. This is the best situation we could get with both of us on camera and two hardware panels all in the same frame. So we are going to be talking about hardware controlling in the cloud. We find that the two actually go surprisingly well together. So what do we have here?
Yeah, so we have up here, we have the Tyst 4ME Advanced panel. This was actually a panel we unboxed a little bit ago. People have asked what we've thought about it and our opinions on it. And it's good in Prem. It works really nice in Prem. You have the config files, but also works really nice in the cloud with Central Control, a software that you actually use to connect to vMix in the cloud, as well as using hardware panels such as this, or also the Behringer X-Touch Universal. It's really nice because we can control vMix as a TD, or we can also have vMix and we control it as an A1.
Yeah, and we are using these both to control vMix, but they're not only vMix, and we are using Central Control for the cloud, but it's also not just the cloud. If you have a remote machine that you just want to control from home, these are both great options. And I can speak from a little bit of experience where we've both gotten pretty good at keyboard and mouse switching on vMix. You can do things like with Stream Deck commands. You can do a lot, but having a traditional hardware switcher and having faders can be very, very helpful, even for remote shows. And even though you're doing maybe different types of shows remotely, being able to make it feel a little bit more tactile is a really, really nice feature. So how have you been using this, and kind of what are some of the different features on this board that you have been enjoying using?
Yeah, so the first thing is that it takes some time to set up just because there are a lot of buttons on here. But once it's set up...
And you have to individually map some of those buttons, but Central Control makes it easier.
Yeah, it gives like the command, and then you're like, all right, I want this to this button. But like, say if I press like that, that has that feedback. It's now in preview. I can press this. I can put whatever I want in program and just hot punch that. But so you have 24 inputs for the preview program, and then for the different mix inputs for preview and program and this was when vMix only had the 4 mix inputs. Now it's at 16, which we would need to fill out or do other things with there. And then we also have DSK control here as well, or overlays for vMix. And so we can also assign the whatever we want to put in the overlays for graphics and stuff.
We should mention that not everything about this board is great. There are definitely some downsides. A lot of it has to actually do with the board itself. So for example, we tend not to use the control for record or stream, multi-recorder. My theory is always that if you accidentally press those, you are in really big trouble, so try not to map those. And we haven't really played around too much with the camera ID, stuff like that. That's obviously more of an on-premise stuff, but we also haven't gotten a great feature support with the camera ID on-prem either. So it's not perfect, but when it comes to the size, the feel of it, the responsiveness of it, I mean, press some of those buttons again, and the thing that you might be able to see is the light isn't instant when he presses it, and that's because what's happening is the light is actually getting feedback from the cloud. And on camera, it might look like it's happening instantly because it's almost a frame or two of latency. It's very, very quick feedback. And I would say it's even less latency when you are just looking on Parsec, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really nice low latency, and that's just because it's using of just like the kind of underside of how it's sending TCP commands, it's getting the instant feedback. But yeah, like you really don't notice that there's any delay with this.
No.
And I mean, I know that technology's come a long way, but it still surprises me how instant that is.
And before we go into the XTouch here, I do just want to say that this is 2023 as you're watching this. That's where we are right now. It's come such a long way in the past few years of really intense worldwide shift towards remote production. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all do for remote production hardware, because there are so many different options. This is what we've been enjoying playing with. So now with the XTouch, I've actually been really impressed with this. We have tried it with other DAWs in the cloud, other digital audio workstations, and we've had mixed results. We have actually found the best support to be vMix, which surprised me, but the more we started using it with vMix, actually, the more I started liking it, and that is coming from an audio engineer's mind. It's actually quite nice to work with and gives you a lot of features on it.
Yeah, and like because it's just kind of base vMix that this is working with, like you get a lot of the feedback that vMix does. So like you can still like solo, you can mute, you can do all these. Doesn't really, it's not going to show here, but you'll be able to tell like on vMix what you're looking at. You'll be able to see that. So like, because if I mute this, like vMix will see this as muted, but it's still pulling levels here. But yeah, you can see the different names and stuff. I can see based on the faders here what the gain is for that.
And these are flying faders too. If I adjust the program on the switcher, you'll see it moving down there. So if you're doing a remote change, the faders actually recognize that in real time. And this works as gain, just as you would expect. The only thing I don't like about it is that, well, this is kind of a vMix thing, but Unity or 0 dB you don't have anything above it. So in order to get to 0 dB, you go all the way up, which works in vMix, but then on the XTouch, it looks like you're plus 10.
Yeah.
So that's the one downside there. So this is to say that we've done a lot of exploration on this, and I was surprised that vMix ended up being a really good solution, but it was after a lot of iterations, after a lot of tries, and I think that this is somewhere where a lot of companies can really majorly improve, is remote audio control. To summarize, the TYST-4ME Advanced Panel and the Behringer X-Touch Universal are two of our highlights in the remote production space at this moment. 2023, and this space where we use a lot of vMix for remote production, and there are so many other solutions that hopefully you all suggest in the comments down below, and so many more that are going to be coming out with a lot of companies, including us, that are trying to improve this space.
Yeah, and honestly, we wouldn't be able to pull this off without central control, just because of how good it is, and just like the connection to vMix and everything. It really makes it that this feels like you're doing this, even though it's a cloud production or remote production, that it feels like you're on premise, just with the low latency and just how nice it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so make sure, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, as we said, comment down below about what you use for hardware solutions. We're always curious to know what other people are doing.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Bye.
See ya.